My name is Tonya Curry, and this is this week's Acumen Media Report. Howling at the pink moon and the cracked actors. This is a country of crazy contradictions. A syndicate defrauded SARS of about 100 million rand, and this week one of the culprits was sentenced to 65 years in jail. SARS also gave celebrity chef Cizo 10 years for stealing 5.3 million in tax. In the same set of headlines, Zuma's stolen logo party bought 4 outside broadcast trucks this week, each one fully branded and equipped with a stage suitable to build a set on and host 30 actors at a time. Want to know why we have corruption in our upper echelons, specifically in politics? It pays, and there are no consequences. There is none so blind as those who will not see. I'm Tonya Curry. I survived the pink moon, and it felt like there was no news this week, didn't it? There was news. It was just that you've become conditioned to car crash, catastrophic chaos for headlines. You've been battered, bludgeoned, and belted, my dear reader. It's time to lift your heavy head. It's Friday. It's time to stand up, lean against the ropes, and scratch the surface with Acumen Media. We're still debating if Joost is dead, but his side chick's bank accounts were seized along with other assets. She pleaded innocence or ignorance, I can't really remember which, but regardless, she's in shtuk. Actor Selo Make Kangube received a doctorate, except that the doctorate came from the Trinity International Bible University, and his graduation ceremony had the backdrop of a Jock Morrison warehouse. He was waxing lyrical until we pointed out that acting was reserved for the real stage. OB vehicle stages don't count either, and not a bogus institution or a bogus photo shoot, you cracked actor. I blame the moon, guys. There was a pink moon rising over the past few days, and I swear everyone went moggy. I mean, Joosta and Selo alone are enough to make you shiver in the corner while you eat raisins. In a plot twist of note, our top story is an old story. Politics will make you do a time warp. Morning Live presenter Leanne Manus told one of her guests to go back to Zimbabwe. Rutendo was telling her how wonderful Zim is and that it's far better than South Africa, and Leanne lost it.
Here,
so why don't you go
instead
home?
of mining
May
land.
I ask you that? Why do you not
I
go
am going home, but right now I've also got family in South Africa.
She asked him why he was there and shouldn't he go home if it is so marvelous. He told her to go back to Europe. Not kidding.
Why aren't Europeans going? What are you doing here?
I live here. This is my home. I'm not running away from it.
But why are you living here instead of Europe? Why did your great-grandparents come here instead of Europe?
Leanne is a born and bred South African, and if you have to track her lineage, like me, she's a South African with Lebanese roots. That's why she got a can of whoop-ass. Rotando, that's my cousin, Chana. Normally, we bring baseball bats. Pink moon or no pink moon, you've been mooned. Hands off, Leanne Manus. How can this be our top story? Old news is new news. Can you tell I'm dragging my heels about elections? So let's push it further back and talk about the Senzo trial instead, shall we? Subpoenas are about to be drafted for Kelly Khumalo, Chico Twala, and Irvin Khoza. This week we heard from a witness and advocate in Ngomezulu that Longwe Twala was the one who fired the lethal shot. But, according to the judge, this is triple hearsay. I have no idea what that is, and I really cannot be bothered to find out. Legally speaking, there was a bunch of stuff. There was also the Maddock trial that hotted up, and Luke Fleur's case was postponed. Then remember that toxicology report we never received and how the Enyombeni Tavern owners received a 5 grand fine for killing 21 kids? Well, the HRC is having none of it, and they've called for a moratorium on liquor licenses in the Eastern Cape. Can I vote for them? Please, can I vote for them? There you go. I said the V word. Let's go down this rabbit hole that is filled with placards and promises. 7 parties joined Mayamani's Bosa. I've never heard of the parties. I said that last week when several parties moon-pacted with Gayton. Want to know why we're mooning our country like this? There are over 300 parties standing in the national election. 300! It is frightening to know that their coalition preference is not going to be labelled on the ballot. We don't know who we're voting for anymore. How unethical is that? There will be 3 ballot papers. 3. 1 regional, 1 provincial, 1 national. Imagine chucking in 3 more variables over a set of 300. You have a mathematical nightmare and a country in a whirlpool of numbers. You're going to need a physics degree to vote, not one of those cello degrees, a real one. And then Zuma collapsed this week. Well, that's according to some papers. Others say there was just a postponement in the courts. You decide. Thabo Mbeki is campaigning on behalf of the ANC. This is when he told us a year ago expressly that there is no way he would be seen at an ANC rally. He's on moonshine for sure. Songezo Zibi asked a great question last night. Why should we keep a criminal syndicate in charge? Well, there is that, Songezo, and the fact that the opposition, EFF and DA, are littered with fraud and corruption cases that have either been swept under the rug or are being dragged by a snail through the courts. We were also told that prisoners can vote. Obviously. If criminals can be elected, then why on earth can't they vote? Duh. The CR17 scandal has come back to haunt our incumbent cumbersome cupcake. The DA printed "Pick Me" placards and banners to electioneer in Quebec with Helen Zille at the face of the future. You're going to laugh. Are you ready? She's donning a hat. A Becky Clele type of hat, except in navy blue. True story. The placards were the promo to an orchestrated march that was in the name of a 3-year-old, Emilio, who died in a home invasion linked to gang violence. Helen took some tips from Gayton's election songbook, and she also took some of Becky's wardrobe. I wonder if either Jocelyn or Emilio will ever see justice, or will we only see election placards and that pink moon rising? My dear country, vote, and vote well. Keep your eyes open too. You're about to see a rigging. Elections 2024. I have to speed up now as words are few, and we haven't even been across the water where headlines are just pink moon crazy. So, to close here at home, we arrested the Joburg city manager for turning that tap off that made us think we had no water, but we didn't attempt to fix the leaks, surprisingly. So there's still half our drinking water vanishing into the ground, drip feeding weeds and damp. Mapisa and Gakula can't afford a lawyer. We watch on social media how a pastor grooms a 16-year-old with takeaways. The videos went viral, but the predator is left to do his worst. A 7-year-old was raped by a 7th grader. Some influencer made fun of a checkout teller and then made a public apology online. She's also just a teen inept and spoilt by money and lack of love. A 3-year-old drowned in a pit toilet and is being buried today. No major overhaul of the ablutions where this kid was murdered by corruption. No justice for our babies and for our children. Just disdain, a placard and a pink moon. Country hopping. Did you see Columbia University? Those students were doing what my mom's youth were doing during Vietnam War, except there were no flowers in their hair. They had all their funding pulled from the uni. The military were on standby. The cops chucked a bunch of kids into jail because they used their voice to speak about Gaza. We saw mass graves uncovered in Gaza, filled with hundreds of bodies, arms tied behind their backs, either shot or buried alive. Biden? Well, he's just rambling. This week he told us that his uncle's plane was shut down in Papua New Guinea and that he believes his uncle was eaten by cannibals.
They never found the body because there were a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea.
Into the head of Papua New Guinea, unimpressed. I mean, seriously, this guy's in La La Land. Who is really running America? Kamala? Nelly the elephant? The pink moon? And then this. Weinstein's rape charges were overturned. Yes, you heard me right. I don't understand it. You shouldn't understand it either. Actually, and while we're even on the subject, what happened to Epstein's list? There are none so blind as he who will not see. What else happened across the sea? Chris King died, and so did the last living member of the Moody Blues. It was Earth Day, and as a gift from Mama Earth, we got the Chinese fleeing floods, Libya and Greece cowering under a dust storm that looked like a dystopian Mars screen set. Speaking of dystopia, it was Coachella too. R. Kelly was let out of prison to defend P. Diddy. I don't make this stuff up. And then WhatsApp rolled out its AI tool across the world. Acumen Media also introduced an AI product, one of our own. Do you think it can write these weekly reports for me? The short answer is no. So I still have a job, but it also can't whisper sweet nothings to an octopus like I can. But it is very impressive. Listen, take the weekend off. Hide under the bed or under the ocean, and just like in diving, remember to breathe. I'm Tanya Curry. Thank you for scratching the surface with me and Acumen Media.